Sydney is more than just pretty pictures of the Opera House and Bondi Beach. It is a city with a rich history, unique culture, and an incredible variety of opportunities for recreation and adventure. In this video, we dive into the history of Sydney from the Aboriginal to the modern day. Understand the architectural features of the city. Explore key areas and learn how they differ. Tell you about the best ways to spend your leisure time, from beach holidays to cultural events. And, of course, give useful tips for planning your trip. Sydney is the largest city in Australia, where the historical heritage of the Victorian era and ultramodern architecture harmoniously combine. Situated on the shores of the picturesque Port Jackson Harbour and washed by the waters of the Pacific Ocean, the city, with a population of over 4 million people annually, attracts millions of tourists with its unique climate, variety of entertainment, and wealth of cultural events. Sydney's history begins long before Europeans arrived. The indigenous people of Australia, the Aborigines, lived on this land for tens of thousands of years. In 1788, the British fleet arrived at Port Jackson Bay, and Sydney became the first European colony in Australia. It was originally a penal colony, and many of the first settlers were convicts. The first years were difficult, but gradually Sydney began to develop. The city became an important trading and gold mining center. In the 20th century, Sydney turned into a modern metropolis, which became one of the most important cities in Australia and the world. It is important to remember the role of the Aborigines in the history and culture of Sydney. Today, they actively participate in the life of the city and preserve their traditions. Sydney's architecture is a reflection of its history and culture. The Sydney Opera House is the city's calling card, a symbol of Australia. Its unique shape and location make it one of the most recognizable buildings in the world. The Sydney Opera House is one of the most famous and unique architectural structures in the world. It has become a symbol of Australia and attracts millions of tourists every year. This theatre stands out for its unusual design, innovative construction methods, and numerous difficulties encountered during its creation, which made it a real work of art. One of the most amazing and luxurious buildings in Sydney amazes with its shapes and scale. From a distance, it seems as if individual elements of the structure are floating in the air. The unusual color scheme visually gives the structure additional lightness. Two fragments of the jagged roof on the Olympic emblem, and the whole world understands in which city the games will be held. The Sydney Opera House is the only building of the 20th century that stands in the same row with such great architectural symbols of the 19th century as Big Ben, the Statue of Liberty, and the Eiffel Tower. Along with the Hagia Sophia and the Taj Mahal, this building belongs to the highest cultural achievements of the last millennium. The Sydney Opera House is a multi-purpose cultural centre in the Australian city of Sydney. The building was designed by Danish architect Knudsen. Despite its name, the theatre hosts not only operas but also many other events. Around 1,500 performances are held there annually, attended by around 1.2 million spectators. Construction of the building began in 1959 and was completed in 1973. It lasted 14 years. In the end, the architect did not complete the building and never returned to Australia. In 2006, UNESCO added the Sydney Opera House to the World Heritage List, and a year later, the architect who created it died. The initial construction budget was $7 million Australian dollars, but the final cost of the project reached approximately $102 million. The Sydney Opera House contains a concert hall, a drama theatre, an opera house and small studios. The total capacity of the halls is about 5,700 seats. The largest hall of the theatre is the concert hall, designed for 2,679 seats and including the largest mechanical organ. Today, the Sydney Opera House has become a symbol not only of Australia but of the entire world culture. Its unique architecture and historical significance are preserved for future generations as a spiritual heritage. This theatre, combining art and technology, remains a model for the whole world. The magnificence of the Sydney Opera House and its cultural significance will continue to attract the attention of people from all over the world. The Sydney Harbour Bridge is another icon of Sydney. It is one of the largest arch bridges in the world and offers stunning views of the city. And the construction under Bradfield's supervision began in 1926 and was completed 6 years later. The Harbour Bridge was opened on March 19, 1932. A truly astronomical sum for those times was spent on its construction, minus 20 million Australian dollars. The model for the bridge was the New York Hellgate Bridge. Due to the characteristic shape of the arch structure, the bridge was nicknamed Coat Hanger. The height is 134 meters, the length is 49 meters, the bend length is 503 meters. There are more than 6 million rivets in the bridge structure, and the total weight of the structure is 52,800 tons. Before construction, more than 800 nearby houses had to be demolished, without compensation. This fact had a great resonance among the city's residents. The bridge connects the business center of the city with the North Shore, crossing Port Jackson Bay. It has 8 lanes for cars, 2 railway tracks, as well as a path for cyclists and a sidewalk for pedestrians. Probably few bridges in the world consist of such a combination of traffic types. It should be said that the 2 eastern lanes were originally tram tracks. They were converted when Sydney abolished tram service in the 1950s. The bridge cost Australia $20 million to build, and its maintenance now costs $5 million. Since 1998, regular excursions have been held on the bridge climb. You can climb up the side arch to the very top of the Harbour Bridge, from where a stunning panorama of the city opens up. But this pleasure is not cheap. Excursions to the bridge are held daily, but they must be booked in advance. Since 1999, on New Year's Eve, grandiose pyrotechnic shows have been held on the Sydney Harbour Bridge. The spectacle is simply mesmerizing. In just 10 years, the fireworks on the Sydney Harbour Bridge have become one of the most popular in the world. The fireworks are among the top 3. Sydney is a city made up of many different areas, each with its own unique feel. The city is the business center of Sydney, home to major corporate offices, shops and restaurants. The Sydney Central Business District, known as the City, is the heart of the city and stretches from Circular Quay in the north to Haymarket and Chinatown in the south. It includes major shopping streets, financial institutions, government buildings, and iconic landmarks such as the Sydney Opera House and Hyde Park. The city is the heart of Sydney's cultural and economic life, a place to see the modern metropolis and enjoy its historical attractions. Darling Harbour is an entertainment district, home to museums, an aquarium, a zoo, and many restaurants and bars. Darling Harbour is a modern area in the heart of Sydney, famous for its waterfront, entertainment venues, restaurants, and cultural and historical attractions. Originally a harbour, it has evolved into a popular place for recreation and entertainment. Darling Harbour is named after Ralph Darling, one of the governors of New South Wales. The area's existence as a pier began in 1802, when the first berths were built. Today, no Sydney tour is complete without a visit to Darling Harbour. Since 1988, it has been the city's main tourist quarter. It is here that the Sea Life Sydney Aquarium is located, one of the largest oceanariums in the world. And in the Australian National Maritime Museum located opposite it, you can see a replica of the ship of sea explorer James Cook, called the Endeavour. It will also be interesting to visit the Powerhouse Museum, Madame Tussauds, Chinatown, and the Sydney Wildlife Zoo. The harbour has a wide variety of restaurants and cafes where you can sample traditional Australian cuisine as well as other cuisines from around the world. Everyone will find something to suit their taste. The Sydney Oceanarium is an incredibly popular place. Not only foreign tourists dream of visiting it, but also Australians themselves. The Oceanarium collection allows you to get acquainted with most of the marine inhabitants of the coastal waters of Australia: sharks, rays, eels, sea lions, seals, reptiles. One of the exhibits is entirely dedicated to the Great Barrier Reef. The most popular place is the tunnel under the aquarium, in which sharks and large fish swim. Such an amazing spectacle delights not only children, but also adults. The Australian National Maritime Museum, located in Darling Harbour, is a popular destination for anyone interested in maritime history and naval heritage. The museum offers a range of exhibits covering Australia's rich maritime past, from early exploration to modern naval achievements. Visitors can view a number of historic ships, including the iconic replica of Captain Cook's HMV Endeavour and the decommissioned destroyer HMAS Vampire. The Rocks is a historic area of Sydney with narrow streets, old buildings, and many pubs. The historic Rocks area is located near the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Here, locals and tourists love to stroll through the open-air Rocks markets, where you can try street food and buy handicrafts. The area is also home to Sydney's oldest pubs and many upscale restaurants overlooking the bay. The Museum of Contemporary Art hosts exhibitions of local and international artists, and buskers often perform on the promenade near the bridge. It was in the Rocks that the first settlers settled down more than 200 years ago and Australia was born. Thanks to active locals who did not allow the historic buildings to be demolished during the large-scale development of the area, there are no huge skyscrapers here, like in the rest of Sydney CBD. In the 20th century, the area underwent redevelopment, but enough old buildings have been preserved to imagine what Sydney looked like when it was just beginning. In particular, from the waterfront you can still see Cabman's Cottage, built in 1815 and still inhabited. And some buildings from that era have been converted into museums. For example, the Susanna House Museum of 1844, which recreates the life of families in the 19th and 20th centuries. The Rocks is literally a magnet for tourists. There are an incredible number of art galleries, museums, fashionable shops and restaurants, and the picturesque views of Sydney Harbour and the Harbour Bridge will not leave anyone indifferent. Bondi is Sydney's most famous beach, an ideal place for surfing and relaxation. Bondi Beach is a wide, crescent-shaped stretch of white sand and is one of Australia's most famous beaches. Its consistent waves make it a popular spot for surfers. Nearby, the Icebergs Pool sits in the ocean and is popular with hardy locals all year round. Health-conscious Sydneysiders flock to the laid-back cafes of Hall Street, while walkers flock to the local pubs. The scenic Bondi to Coogee Coastal Trail, which runs along the cliff, is popular with walkers and runners. The best time to visit the beach in Sydney is during the warmer months of December to April. Bondi Beach is a popular spot for solo travelers to meet other people, thanks to its vibrant atmosphere and active leisure. During the summer months, like many other beaches in Australia, Bondi Beach is protected from sharks by long underwater nets. Sometimes pods of whales or dolphins can be seen off the beach, coming close to the coast during migration. Little penguins, an extremely rare sight, can also be seen swimming along the shore. Manly is another popular beach, accessible by ferry from the city. It has a quieter atmosphere than Bondi. It is Sydney's second most famous beach. Manly Beach is a famous beach in Sydney, Australia, known for its wide stretch of golden sand and the azure Tasmanian Sea. It is located 17 kilometers from the center of Sydney and is easily accessible by ferry, making it a popular holiday destination for both vacationers and tourists. Manly Beach has a long history as a seaside resort and surfing destination, even hosting the world's first surfing competition. The beach offers a unique combination of wide ocean beaches and quieter coves and bays. In addition to swimming and surfing, Manly offers many other activities, including walking, restaurants, and other attractions. Manly Beach is not only a place to relax, but also part of Sydney's cultural heritage. This is one of the best beaches in Australia and a real paradise for lovers of surfing and other water sports. It is always bustling with life, music playing, a crowd having fun, and hundreds of vacationers swimming. Newtown is a student area with an alternative culture, lots of bars, cafes, and street food. Newtown, dubbed Sydney's Bohemian District, it is home to Victorian-era artists, sculptors, wood and metal craftsmen, furniture makers, antique dealers, and creative and non-creative types from all over the world. Numerous art galleries and vintage shops are always filled with exhibits and people looking for that special something. On the streets of Newtown and the main King Street, artists paint buildings and on buildings, and the favorite pastime of passers-by is to watch their work. The cultural life of Newtown is also manifested in the fact that several museums, for theaters, and exhibition halls now operate here. All this is bizarrely mixed with traditional Victorian architecture. Bright signs sparkle on the old facades of houses. Narrow streets and alleys are filled with cars and bicycles. In some ways, modern Newtown can even be compared to Amsterdam, one of the most unusual multicultural cities in the world. In general, now this is a place for exciting walks, energetic parties, shopping, and new acquaintances. It is perfect for those travelers who prefer an active city holiday. Sydney has something for everyone, with active holiday makers able to enjoy surfing, diving, and hiking. Taronga Zoo is one of the best places in Sydney to get acquainted with Australian fauna. The official opening took place on October 7, 1916. The territory of the zoo is divided into 8 zoogeographic zones. Its collection includes about 340 species of animals, with a total number of over 2,600 individuals. Taronga Zoo Sydney is the oldest and most famous zoo in Australia. It is located on a hillside in one of the picturesque suburbs of Sydney, Mosman. Its name translates as beautiful view. And indeed, from the territory of Taronga, there is a magnificent panorama of Sydney Bay and the immediate surroundings. Since the 1970s, Taronga Zoo has been an active research center, studying the life processes of various species and experimenting with increasing the population. This work has already borne fruit. In 2003, a platypus was born here, and in 2009, Australia's first elephant was born. Scientists have also developed several educational programs that introduce visitors to the lives of the zoo's inhabitants. In the 1980s, Taronga opened a cable car, allowing visitors to enjoy views of Sydney Harbour and the zoo grounds. The zoo's territory is divided into 8 thematic zones. The most popular are Australian wetlands, inhabited by pelicans, Australian cranes, and storks, as well as Platypus House, where you can see not only the platypus itself, but also a wombat, and walks around Australia, a habitat for wallabies, koalas, kangaroos, and other animals of the continent. Representatives of fauna from other continents also live here: Tibetan red pandas, lions, giraffes, elephants from hot Africa, etc. In the Great Southern Sea Zone, opened in 2008, you can meet various inhabitants of the aquatic world: penguins, leopard seals, and lions. Comfortable natural conditions have been created for all species in the zoo. Art lovers can visit the Art Gallery of New South Wales, which houses a rich collection of Australian and world art. The Art Gallery of New South Wales is the largest art museum in Sydney and the fourth largest in Australia. The gallery was founded in 1874 and has occupied its current building since 1897. The building was designed by architect Walter Vernon. In 1988, the gallery doubled in size. Construction lasted until 1902, and in 1970, a new wing was added to the main building of the gallery, named after the navigator James Cook. In 2003, an outbuilding appeared here, housing a collection of works by Asian artists. Around it are bronze sculptures of civilizations that have made the most impressive contribution to world art: Assyrian, Egyptian, Roman, and Greek. Today, the gallery's collection is widely represented by the cultural achievements of the Australian Aborigines and colonizers of this land, as well as works of Asian, European, and modern art. In addition, the gallery hosts many temporary exhibitions every year. Among the masters whose works are in the museum's halls, the names of Rubens, Constable, Brown, Delacroix, Rodin, Monet, Cézanne, Pissarro, Van Gogh, Kirchner, Braque, Picasso, and many others stand out. The Royal Botanic Gardens are a wonderful place to walk and relax. The Royal Botanic Gardens in Sydney are one of the oldest and richest in the world. On a territory of 30 hectares, practically untouched by civilization, there are 7.5 thousand species of rare and unusual plants, a herbarium, and a comprehensive botanical library. The Royal Botanic Gardens began its existence in 1788. That year, the Governor of New South Wales ordered the first agricultural farm in Australia to be established. However, the work carried out did not meet expectations. The land turned out to be infertile, and the planted food crops never yielded a harvest. For this reason, in 1816, it was decided to establish a research center on the farm's territory, where they began to study plant samples from all over the continent. Numerous paths allow you to choose fascinating routes. In the botanical garden, you can go on an amazing journey through the tropical forest to the old mill. Along the way, look into the rose garden and fern greenhouse. Relax in the Sydney Conservatorium of Music. Study the collection of palm trees. Enjoy the layout of the Australian native rockery. Explore the Bennelong Lawn and the Queen Elizabeth II Gate. In the center of the palm grove, there is a cozy cafe, restaurant, and garden shop. The park is decorated with small decorative ponds with elegant bridges thrown across them, sculptures, flower beds with bright exotic flowers. Butterflies and exotic birds flutter among the branches of tropical plants. Entrance to the Royal Botanic Gardens is free. You can walk along the park's paths or take a ride on a stylized tram. The recreation area is located near the Sydney Business Centre. A visit to the park is a great opportunity to take a break from the city noise and experience natural harmony. Planning a trip to Sydney requires some preparation. The best time to visit Sydney is spring, September, November, or autumn, March, May, when the weather is most comfortable. Sydney is quite an expensive city, so it is worth planning your budget in advance. Sydney has a well-developed public transport system, including buses, trains, ferries, and trams. The Opal card is a convenient way to get around the city. There are many accommodation options in Sydney, from hostels to luxury hotels. Book your accommodation in advance, especially if you are planning a trip during the high season. Don't forget to apply for an Australian visa. I hope this video has helped you get to know Sydney better and inspired you to travel to this amazing city. Sydney is a city that is worth seeing with your own eyes. Here you will find everything you need for an unforgettable holiday and adventure. Subscribe to my channel, like and comment. Tell us what you were most interested in Sydney. Until next time.